We are at MarsCon. This is Douglas Van Dyke. These are his books, The Earthland Stones, the trilogy, and your trilogy has how many books? 3 or 5?
Yep.
Unlike some people we know.
Yeah, I have these 3 books in the Earthland Stones trilogy. These were the first 3 books that I published. So they kind of set the stage of the fantasy world, epic fantasy world I write about.
Tell us about the world.
It's a world in which I tried to address some questions I had about some of the typical fantasy and role playing, like if there are these multiple gods in the world, why don't they interfere with everything all the time?
Mm-hmm. And what answers did you come up with?
The first answer is that they did.
They did.
And they just about destroyed everything.
Kind of like people, huh?
Yeah, they just about destroyed everything. So now they have a kind of a compact where they have to stay out of the world for the most part. They can only channel power through mortals who do their bidding in the world. But it's led to kind of like a bit of the war's gone past, but now it's a bit of a Cold War. I grew up in the Cold War, so I ended up kind of having that in this background too. But that also ends up putting the focus back on the mortal people going about it. You don't just have a god like, I was trying to remember, like the old Clash of the Titans, where Zeus would reach in and pick Perseus up. We're not having any of that.
Okay, so the gods treat each other better, is what you're saying, or
I couldn't
the gods treat each other better than the Titans did?
Oh, they still have their own efforts against each other, except they just try to be real subtle about it. Of course, in these books, the mortals still get caught up in it and end up fighting still a war on our soil.
So when did the first book come out?
I believe actually when this one first came out was about 2006, and these two followed shortly after. I spent a long time working on the whole trilogy there.
The covers are beautiful. Well, maybe not the monster, but it's beautifully done.
Yeah. So it was ambitious of me to start with a trilogy.
But you didn't intend it as a trilogy to begin with, did you?
I did,
You
although
did,
I still
okay.
wrote the first book as kind of standalone. I didn't want anyone to feel like they had to that they would be forced into a trilogy from the first book. So, but these take the story in way deeper than you get in the first one.
So what set you on the path of writing? Have you been doing it all your life, or did something get you going?
I've always been interested in reading fantasy, but reading other books too. I like a good Louis L'Amour Western also. And I ended up started writing short stories. And sometimes they're like a few pages, usually full of action. And that kind of led down the path of I'd write bigger and bigger, and I wanted to finally just write something I could release and share with people.
Tell me about one of the characters, the main character in the Earthworm Stones.
One of the main characters, and this probably won't pick up on the phone too well, there's a female elf character. I don't know how well that'll show up. And her name is Patressa, although she shortens it to Cat. And one of the interesting things about it is when you start the first book, she's actually probably the most experienced adventurer out in the wild. She actually works for a city of Kashmir as a privateer, so she's out actively paid or gets part of the loot from finding brigands, monsters, handling things like that. And in the first, in the series, you have 2 boys that are pretty much fresh off the farm who get pulled into an adventure, and they pull her along with. And so suddenly, this strong female character finds herself trying to guide these 2 young boys and keep them from getting killed.
And isn't there a son of a blacksmith?
Yeah. Yes, there's Treston, the son of a blacksmith, who this is centered around. It still grows beyond him. I introduced so many characters, but the first book is centered around Treston as he goes on this adventure, as he faces a number of questions that pop up during the adventure. He ends up getting caught up in the machinations of the gods, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And we just know he's not going to be the same person at the end of it as when he went in.
Mm-hmm. Which is what makes a good book. I know I have one reader who might or might not be my own daughter who refuses to read my books because Sean is so terrible at the beginning. And I keep telling her, you know, there's a reason for that. There is no good redeeming someone who is decent to begin with. That doesn't make sense.
One of the biggest things about a story is that the character grows.
Exactly, or devolves in some cases, but yeah, I think generally they grow. So, what about your other books? I think, is this the most popular one?
Yep, the Widow Brigade is my most popular. It also well accentuates the point about a character that grows because Dooley is a female dwarf.
And is that who's on the cover?
Yep.
Okay.
So, few enough fantasy novels that star a female dwarf. And I take readers into that world. She is, as you can imagine, becomes a widow early on in the book, and it changes her life. It turns her life upside down. And she finds herself in a position where she is depressed. She wants to strike back at the humans that have made war with the dwarves. Something also to take it on a different perspective. And she finds herself actually starting a revolution within her own people because they don't like the dwarves. These mountains are the only ones that also know the secret of black powder and muskets, and the women are not allowed to fight, much less have access to them.
So, does she disguise herself as a man to get them?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't go to that point.
Okay.
Although what might be interesting for the reader is the female dwarves in this book. They have beards.
Okay.
Hers shaved off due to a custom, which she has to deal with a very male-dominated society, and it's really still a story about bucking against that society.
Okay.
Especially as the war goes on and more widows take her cause.
Okay. And then you have the Pilgrims with Blades. And this is, remind me, an anthology, I think you said?
It's going to be a series of books.
Oh, that's right.
All shorter adventures, novellas. I was inspired by the Conan series of adventures. They're just a collection of short adventures, all of them. So I have 5 individuals, very different backgrounds, who like to keep their past a little mysterious, a bit of a secret even from each other. And it tends to be still going to be a very action-oriented series.
Okay. So, how long have you been writing for?
Oh gosh.
Your whole life?
I think even way back in high school, I'm like mid 40s now, but even back in high school, I would write stories. A lot of them based off of even like video games or other worlds I'd read about. And those are just kind of mostly for me, but I kept getting these ideas and I had to get them out.
And how are you enjoying MarsCon?
I'm enjoying MarsCon. This is my first time here.
Mine
my
too.
second convention setting up. Yeah. And I've came here in the past though to enjoy the activities, the panels they have, a lot of other good merchants and traders.
Are you on a panel tonight or this weekend?
No, I'm afraid not.
Okay, maybe next time.
But in the future.
All right. Anything else?
Oh, otherwise, thanks. Hope people look up.
Yeah. Do you have a website?
Yeah.
Put this on the card.
Dale Laurel. So DaleLaurel.com. And yeah, I hope people also have an interest in my fantasy books and take a look. And also hope people take an interest in writing. Get together with other writers in your area. Because things have really opened up for even indie writers to kind of get their stories out.
Right, and you're part of a writers group, aren't you? MinSpec?
Yep, MinSpec for short, Minnesota Speculative
Fiction writers,
Fiction
I think
Writers,
it is. Right, they're on Meetup. I know they can be found there.
Yeah, they're on Meetup, so they're here in Minnesota. There's meetups all over the place with other writers, though. If you
And are they a critique group?
Yes.
Okay, so you read and take turns critiquing each other's writing.
Yeah, the Widow Brigade benefited most from a part of Minnesota Spec, a part of that critique group. So I have them to thank that it's as popular as it is.
Okay, well, thank you.